in person for our info session today. I'm really excited to just get to speak with you guys, and also with just the format of both virtual and in person. We'll have plenty of time for questions at the very end, but really excited to just kind of show you guys a little bit more about Kohl's if you know about us or don't. This presentation hopefully will answer all of those questions, but happy to have you guys here. So we will go ahead and start with some intros. So my name is Kimi Nakayama. I'm an early talent recruiter for Kohl's. So what my job is to connect with college students and then also recent grads. So I get to hang out with you guys, engage with you and help you through our hiring process with many of the different opportunities we have here at Kohl's. And more so in terms of early talent, it's really those early careers that you guys can have with us. So we have internships, we have full-time training programs. So we will also talk about those a little bit more in depth towards the end. So I got my start here with Kohl's by actually going through those programs I just mentioned. So I started as an intern with us 5 years ago. I am from Seattle, Washington, so plenty of stores in that area. So I did the internship while I was still in school. And then right after graduating, I joined for their full-time training program. From there, I was an assistant store manager for 4.5 years and found my spot in this role, really getting to lend that forward to the students like myself 5 years ago. So really enjoy being here, getting to speak with you guys and also help you find your future careers here at Kohl's because there are plenty to choose from. What made me really just choose Kohl's in the very beginning was just the fact that it was a very people-oriented company, very family-oriented as well. So the recruiters and teams that I met with right away had like an instant connection of like, these are the types of people that I could see myself working with. And then also for me, what was really important was like the culture of the company I was working at. Is it somewhere where it aligns with my values? Do I see myself growing there? And all of those checkboxes were selected. And why I continue to choose Kohl's every single day is just that people piece. I love the people I work with when I worked in the stores and then also now as a recruiter. Love my team. I love what I do every day. I enjoy actually showing up for work and getting to travel to campuses like today. So yeah, I just continue to choose Kohl's every single day just because of the people that really drive who we are. Now I will hand it on over to Trav.
Thank you. So as she mentioned, my name is Travis. I have actually been with Kohl's now for coming up on 10 years. So very similar journey to Kimi. I actually started as an intern at Kohl's as well back in 2011, but actually at our corporate office. So while Kimi started off in our stores, I started off in our corporate office, actually with a career in HR, starting as a recruiter, but I've held different progressive roles throughout my time within HR. And most recently, I moved into this role where I actually get to work with Kimi every day, as well as a group of about 12 other recruiters who recruit for all of our campus hires. So that's interns and that is direct full-time hiring as well. And I lead that entire team. So we recruit for our stores, our distribution centers, and our corporate office. And it is just an incredible thing that this team does, you know, partnering with the different campuses, working with all of you as students, answering your questions, you know, really courting you through that process and making sure that you have a really solid experience with who we are. I think I chose Kohl's. It is definitely a well-known name, but at the same time, it is a name that I grew up with. You know, my family always went there, shopped there, and there's just a lot of great values that Kohl's withholds. And so a lot of that aligned with who I was and what I was looking for in a career. Above and beyond that, I had the opportunity to work for 10 weeks through that internship and had such an incredible experience with the people on my team, the manager that I worked with, the leadership there, and all the different things that we got to experience throughout that time, whether that was volunteerism or just the on-the-job experience that you got, meeting other interns as well. Just an incredible experience. So when I got the opportunity to come back full-time, it was a no-brainer. And now each and every day I come back, as Kimi said, I love going to work. I love the role that we get to play here on the early talent team and the people that I get to work with. The way that Kohl's continues to evolve as a retailer, but also as an organization that we work for, continues to just be a really cool culture that we get to be a part of. And, you know, I'm going to continue to come back each and every day because I love it. It's great.
So one of the things that Trav mentioned towards the end of his spiel was that idea of like evolving and being like innovative. So this is actually a timeline of who we are, where Kohl's got their start and where we are today. And even this timeline from where 2021 ends continues on. 2022, we are off to a crazy good start. And we will also talk about that later in the slide. So we actually got our start in 1962. We were really more focused in those Midwest areas with mostly being in the Brookfield, Wisconsin area. Jump forward 30 years to 1992, that is where we start to really grow, become a public company, and we see 76 stores going in the Midwest area. So when I show you guys kind of a footprint of who we are and where we are, you'll see a very dense population in that Midwest area. And also that is where our corporate offices are homed as well in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. Jumping to the 2000s, early 2000s, we actually launched Kohls.com. And what is interesting about that is, so currently Kohl's is a leading omni-channel retailer. So what we do is we really lean into that digital experience for our customers. And we're able to, if you've ever ordered online, we have a lot of different ways to kind of cater to our customers, and that's ever evolving. So 2001 is when we started Kohls.com. We also started opening up our stores in California in 2003 with 28 joining, and then fast forward a little bit to the rewards. So one of the big things, if you've ever heard about Kohl's or shopped with us, our big thing is rewards and loyalty. So we have Kohl's Cash that came around in 2004. It's basically like stealing, it's free money to shop at our stores and online. And then also with that in 2014 was when Yes to You Rewards launched. And that is really like who we are at the core, is just providing a really good shopping experience for our customers and associates through all the rewards and loyalty that we have to offer, which I don't think there's a day there's not some sort of deal going on for our customers as well. Jumping to more current, so 2019, we had a lot of things launching then, but one of them that sticks out is Amazon. So having Amazon come into our stores as a place for customers to make returns was huge. It is such an easy process. You can initiate the return on your phone, scan the QR code and hand us your Amazon return. It's as easy as that. We take care of all the rest for you. And with that in 2019, which we'll touch on later, is that we actually changed kind of the overall vision of who Kohl's was and what we were offering to our customers. So this includes our vision of being the retailer of choice for the active and casual lifestyle. So if you ever shopped with us or knew anyone that shopped with us previously, it was more so like a one-stop shop for everything. But now we're kind of honing in on our customers, our markets, to really lean into that retailer of choice for the active and casual lifestyle. Jumping to the 20s. So amidst COVID, we had to temporarily close our stores, but at that same time, we were launching our curbside pickup. So that again, leading into the omni-channel experience, we were able to still provide resources and merchandise and anything that our customers needed during COVID. And so curbside came along, and then alongside with that, we still kind of were tweaking all the other omni-channel experiences that we have to offer to our customers. So we have buy online, pick up in store, buy online, ship to store, obviously just shipping it straight to someone's home. So this was a big key driver for us during COVID when we were unfortunately not able to have our stores open. And jumping to more recent, last year, we did launch Sephora in our Kohl's stores. I believe it started with about 200, really depending on where the stores were located, the market, and kind of what the customers were looking for. But that's when I would mention at the very beginning, 2022 is off to a crazy good start. Sephora is really taking off for us this spring, actually, as we speak, and a lot of different initiatives as well. So now we are going to kind of look at who we are today. So 1962, that's plenty of years in between. So there's been so many changes that we wanted to mention on as well. So our footprint, like I mentioned, you can definitely see the areas, California being one of them, where they are pretty populated with Kohl's stores. And interestingly enough, one of the main things that we have here at Kohl's is we have a very strong off-mall basis. So you'll typically not see too many standalone Kohl's. We typically try to keep them pretty close to being on like a strip mall or close to it. As you can see, some of the icons that we have on our screen, as well as the dots, are obviously all of our stores. We also have our distribution and fulfillment centers, and then our corporate offices labeled as well. So we are in 49 states. We are 1,100 plus, I believe. Last I checked, it was 1,165. Sounds right. So with that, we are actually growing. So in the next 4 years, we are planning on opening over 100 more stores and having them kind of a more smaller format to cater to each market. So I know specifically where I'm from in Washington, this smaller format store is really catered towards like the outdoorsy Columbia, Eddie Bauer, and they're really going to lean into that in that smaller format there. So this is kind of our national footprint for you guys just to see. And then what's great too is like you see all of these dots. That is all the opportunities we have at Kohl's. So for my position specifically in the stores, plenty of stores to fill roles in, and then we'll kind of talk about those later on. All right, so really big in terms of, I know students now, and even when I was going through it, it was really important for me to be with a company that I aligned with, like I mentioned. So this has been the purpose for Kohl's, to inspire and empower families to lead fulfilled lives. So some of those key points in there is empowerment, the family aspect, and then also lead fulfilled lives. So this really aligned with me with being with someone within a company where they really are, I guess, putting a lot into their people, and then also just really aligning with what they are looking for. So this really goes from all spans. It goes through our people, which are our associates and our teams, our customers, and throughout our community. And it also is a big driver in terms of who we partner with, what the brands are, do they align with our purpose statement? And then also thinking about where we're located. Are they serving our customers? Are we giving them the best experience as well? And with our purpose, we also have the culture where we really focus on these 4 values here on your screen. So these 4 pillars really, you could say, is how we truly define ourselves. So this really drives our, I guess, kind of our choices every single day. Whether you're in the stores or in our corporate offices, you are putting the customers first, you are acting with integrity, you are building great teams, and then you're also wanting to drive results. So you encompass these 4 values with our purpose statement, and that truly is who Kohl's is through and through. All right. So like I stated earlier, our vision has changed. So as of October 2019, we were changing kind of who we were. So we used to carry a lot of like professional wear. I think even when we got our start, we were like a sporting goods store. So we've been all over the place. But now we're really starting to hone into what our customers are needing. And also this was kind of in, I guess, response to COVID as well. No one's really buying professional clothes anymore. We are all about being casual. And we're also in that active lifestyle as well. So that is where this new, I guess, kind of being the vision of the trusted retailer of choice for the active and casual lifestyle has really come into play. And there has been great success and also just performance that we've been seeing through our brands that we've been bringing on, the ones that we currently have. So this next one here is like a full big integrated approach to the big categories that we currently are focusing on. So like we had before, our women's, men's, and kids has been huge in terms of the shifts that we've been seeing in terms of brands that we carry. Home and active, we've really been focusing on that casual lifestyle while also still supporting those rewards and loyalties that we have here at Kohl's. And then beauty, one of the big things like we shared is Sephora. So we have been actually able to fill in a lot of those gaps with the different brands we have here at Kohl's. So on the left-hand side, that is our national brands. So those are obviously nationally owned and used. So these are some just of the examples that we have here at Kohl's. And then on the right-hand side, these are our private brands. So these are owned and created by Kohl's. So what's great about this is that they fill in the gaps that the national brands offer to us. So if you think about the big name brands of like Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, Champions, they have higher price point, maybe not able to provide a lot of savings on them. So that's why we created brands like Flex and Tech Gear. So they fill in those gaps. So they really work closely side by side in terms of the brands that we offer that also kind of caters to our vision. And then we have Sephora. So I personally have not been in any stores. There's not any in Washington where I am, but I've seen great pictures. So like we shared in fall of 2021, we opened 200 fall Sephoras in our locations. And I know California actually does have quite a few. And then we are growing. So this spring, we currently have 600 opening up in our stores. And then by spring of 23, we hope to have 850. So if you think about the scope, we have just over 1,100-ish stores. That's a pretty good ratio of how many have Sephora in it and not. Really the key drivers that are deciding who gets it and not obviously are where they're located, what the customers are looking for, and also if they have the space, because it does take up quite a big portion of square footage in our store locations. What's great is that it is also providing a lot of new brands to Kohl's. So obviously, as you can tell, there's so many array of things. If you've ever been in a Sephora, that our customers are able to just either pick up in store or they can also ship it to their home. So that omni-channel experience, obviously, still a key part of being in Sephora. And then, like I noted, the square footage. So in some of our larger stores, they will have a Sephora entrance just for them. And then also in the middle of the store, in the very front, you will see that Kohl's Sephora location as well. What has also been kind of the key driver of really leaning into our vision is that Sephora will be this bright, shiny thing in the middle towards the front of the store. And then we also have our activewear really kind of bordering it. So that really gives you the full scope of our vision that we have right when you enter the doors. And just wanted to touch on sustainability. So here on this side, you can see on the bottom some awards and recognitions that we've been doing. If you think about the 1,100 stores, 6 distribution centers, and then all of our corporate offices, we want to definitely limit our carbon footprint. So that was super important to us, and why we have such strategic goals in terms of sustainability is because we want to make a positive impact. So we've been fighting climate change with a net zero by 2050. We are doing more recycling and less waste, and then also really doing sustainable sourcing. So wanted to just flash this screen. There's a lot of info on it, but we are, I guess, a green thumb company, if you want to say. And actually some of our, I don't know where the locations are, but I know solar panels have been really big with getting those installed in our stores just to help save any energy where possible. And next, we are going to talk a little bit more about diversity, equity, and inclusion at Kohl's.
Awesome, thank you. And one of the things Kimmy mentioned it, we both mentioned it in our introduction, is what we value about an organization and what we work in, which we work for. And one of those big things that we really work towards is our emphasis and commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion here at Kohl's, but also not just with our associates, but with our customers and with our community. And so we've been spending a lot of time. We've been on this journey for several years, but in 2019 is where we really honed in on marching toward being a company that really valued diversity, equity, inclusion. And how do we think about that diversity lens, but also how do we make sure that all of our associates and our customers and our communities all feel valued and feel like they can show up as their authentic selves when it comes to Kohl's. And so really what we want to do is continue to empower our associates and more families through that equity, diversity, and inclusion. One of the ways in which we've done that is over the last year, we've actually formally appointed somebody to be our Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. She has taken on that role and has really committed to continuing to progress Kohl's in this space. And not just from a talent perspective, but in everything we do. When you think about our products, when you think about our communities, our partnerships, as well as our associates, making sure we're really focused on that. And when you think about it, we're committed to that across all different business lines. So you see here, we have 3 really main pillars. It's our people, so that is our associates across all of our stores, our corporate offices, and our distribution centers. It's our customers, and we have customers, as Kimmy said, in 49 different states. And it's our community. We partner and we do a lot as it relates to volunteerism and supporting our communities, whether that's our partners near our corporate offices or partners across the United States that have more of a national presence. We're committed to continuing to fulfill those lives. The other thing too is we do have a pledge for progress, something that we want to continue to do and we want to continue to progress in within our communities. And we want to really embed diversity, equity, and inclusion in all that we do. And we want to make sure that we're always addressing those inequities and inspiring empathy and to create an environment where all of our associates and our customers belong. We want everyone that comes into our stores, everyone that comes into our offices, feel like they do have a place here with Kohl's, and that they feel included, they feel valued, and they feel celebrated. We also want to make sure that we continue to increase our diversity here at Kohl's from an associate standpoint that more accurately reflects our population as a country. And then also making sure that we continue to draw stronger inclusion across our associates through what we call our business resource groups. And I'll get to those in just a moment here. In addition to that, we want to make sure that we're putting an emphasis on those customers. So making sure that we have brands that are relevant to all of our customers, regardless of age, ethnicity, gender, et cetera. And then lastly, making sure that in our community, we are partnering and engaging with different external partnerships from a diverse perspective, and ensuring that we're working with suppliers that give us all of our goods who do have an emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion as well. So like I said, we really want to make sure that we're weaving that into the footprint of all that we do here at Kohl's, not just from a talent perspective, but in everything that we are doing. We do have what we call business resource groups. So really to continue to drive the idea of inclusion and belonging here at Kohl's, we have launched 8 different what we call business resource groups or affinity groups. And we actually launched these probably back in 2015. We started with only a few, and now we're up to 8. And you can see them here on the screen. But we want to make sure that we have different opportunities for individuals, whether or not you feel like you belong to one of these groups, or if you are an ally to one of these groups. You see the saying on there, you don't have to be to belong. You don't have to necessarily identify with the Black professionals group in order to be a part of that group. It's an opportunity to show your allyship, to learn, to grow, to build your empathy towards different groups of individuals. And so we do have groups that you see here: Asian Pacific, Black professionals, focused on disability, Hispanic, Latino, Pride, young professionals, women, as well as our veterans and military. So we have a huge focus. We have hundreds of members across our entire associate population that are engaged in each of these groups. They are completely associate or employee run and led. There's tons of different leadership opportunities. So above and beyond your day-to-day job where you are maybe working in the stores or in IT or in finance, you can also be a part of these groups and really help drive these initiatives forward. And they're actually sometimes an extension of our team because we work with them very closely as we work to engage with different groups as well as organizations as well. And so what they've done is they've really helped foster that inclusive environment. It's given individuals a place to feel like they can be their authentic selves, and has also allowed us to continue to focus on everybody and celebrate those differences that exist as well as similarities across all of our different cultures, genders, ethnicities, etc.
Well said. And then one thing I wanted to add in terms of the business resource groups here at Kohl's, they are truly an extension of like who's joining them. They are a great way to really network within different areas of the business you may not be super familiar in. So it's a great way to meet others, kind of, I guess, how do you want to say it? Like embrace your differences and also similarities. And it's just really a safe space to do that. And there's also a lot of development opportunities there as well. So personally, from my own experience, last fall, I was able to partake in a leadership conference specifically for Asian Pacific Islanders. And it was a really engaging experience and made some lifelong friends in there too, surprisingly, to just engage with different people and learn a little bit more about my background, my heritage. And so it was really cool to get to be a part of that. But moving on to our internships. So I can more speak to our store side opportunities that we have here at Kohl's, and then travel also kind of touch on all of the other opportunities that we have that are more corporate focused. So going through these, the first one here is that you are really doing true work. You are extremely hands-on. So within the stores, you are partaking in this internship to learn more about the day-to-day. You are not sitting behind a desk. You are truly out there on the sales floor in one of our stores, engaging with your teams, engaging with the customers, seeing kind of what works, what doesn't work, And then also it's a great time for you to really see what innovative thoughts and processes you want to try to put in place to maybe make things work a little bit smoother. Trav, do you want to add anything for corporate?
So as Kimmy mentioned, and we talked about, we have opportunities that exist across our store network, our distribution network, and then our corporate office. And as of right now, we do have our corporate office is based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but we also have extensions of that corporate office both in New York City as well as in the Bay Area here. We have a presence in Oakland as well as I believe it's San Bruno is where we recently opened up another one of our offices. We were in Milpitas, but we decided to redistribute our office space to 2 different areas to accommodate our associates. And then we are opening up other hubs for the technology teams or IT teams in Atlanta and Austin as well. So we do have a presence across the US from a corporate perspective as well. And every year we hire anywhere from 250 to 300 corporate interns. And we have opportunities that exist across all different business units is what we call them. So if you're interested in finance, if you're interested in human resources, IT, merchandising, I'm trying to think what else we have a lot. Logistics is another one that we have, operations, marketing. We have so many different opportunities that exist across our corporate office as well. Majority of those opportunities do exist mostly within our corporate office at Milwaukee. But like I said, a lot of our IT opportunities can be done across the US in any of those different offices that I mentioned, as well as remotely. As you can imagine, due to the pandemic, we've continued to explore those opportunities to work remotely more permanently versus having to be in person at an office, and those opportunities do exist as well. There's several that you do need to be in person, but there's also several where you can work completely 100% remote as well, and one of those areas is IT. We also have art, design, graphic design, merchandising, production, sourcing, a lot of different areas, and we're looking for all sorts of majors for each of those respective areas, whether that's your exact major or something similar. We're very open, and we always want to help everybody explore, what their passions are or what they're looking for in their career, and we can even help you find that fit here at Kohl's too.
And then I think one thing to note that I think is most important is that we pay you. So you do get paid during our internships, which is great. They are full-time positions that take place over the summer. Rates obviously do kind of depend on where you're located and the positions you are interested in, but you do get paid as well. So that's nice to be making money while also getting some work experience. And then one thing to note, internships, it's not just we want you to come and spend the summer with us and we say goodbye forever. The goal of them is to receive a full-time offer after you guys graduate. So they typically take place the summer going into your senior year. So when you guys did the show of hands of sophomore, junior, senior, junior standing is typically who's going to take place in our internships. And then our manager and training programs or full-time training opportunities on both stores, EFCs, and then also corporate are going to take place post-graduation. So just want to put that out there. Another thing in terms of our internships and opportunities here that you truly make a lot of connections. You get a pool of just people supporting you, not only, so like for the stores, you have your entire leadership team, your entire associate team who's working with you and alongside you, but you also, all of our interns get paired with a mentor or a coach, which is an outside resource, typically in the same field, just to support them along the way. They have weekly touch bases with them, just to see if there's any gaps that they need or anything that they're needing extra support on. And then in the store specifically, the mentors also get to do a shadow day within the other store, just so they can see different layouts, things like that. Anything to add for mentors?
Yes, on the corporate side, you would always be paired with a manager or mentor too that help you day in and day out. And like Kimmy said, it's real world experience. We want to make sure that we are giving you opportunities to get to know Kohl's and get to know each other, but also to really intimately get involved in your work. And so there's been plenty of projects across the different departments that I mentioned where you actually get to design or create something new that could end up being implemented by Kohl's. And we've seen that several times through our internship program where there are from those products that Kimmy mentioned that we own, different designs that interns have done, or different technology solutions that interns have implemented from an IT perspective. And so that real world experience is huge. And then when you're paired with that mentor or coach, as well as a manager, they help and support you in your day to day. They make sure that you have all the resources you need, the connections that you need, and are there to guide and support you each and every day throughout those 10 weeks of that internship. And then you also have an entire team that you can network with above and beyond those two individuals that are sort of assigned to you. Because as Kimmy and I mentioned, I think one of the biggest reasons why we came back was not only the connections we made through the internship, but the people we worked with day in and day out. And so it's really important that you have a really valuable experience with those individuals that you are paired with. And we make sure that that is a super positive experience for you.
And then one other thing to note in terms of the connections that you make during the internship experience is that we hold like networking events for you guys to engage with different interns across the states for you to just like get to see what their experiences are like, and maybe things they're learning or gaps that you maybe have questions of, like, what are you guys doing in your locations? So it's a great way for you to really connect with other individuals going through the same exact experience, to really play off of each other to see if there's anything that you guys can maybe help fill in the gap for each other. Another thing here, like we mentioned, is that this is a start of a career. So whether it's the internship or the full-time position, you really are going to be starting and jump-starting your career here with Kohl. So we both started as interns, obviously not how everyone gets their start, but definitely a good way for college students to start their early careers is through our internships and training programs. So I believe our internships across all business units our goal is to hire 550. So take 70% of that, you guys would be getting full-time offers to join us after you guys graduate. So great way for you to get some, I guess, exposure before you really hop into the full-time job after completing school. It's also a great time for you to see like what the day-to-day looks like. Is this something that you truly can see yourself doing as a career long-term? And then also like understanding the culture of a company. We can say all these great things about our purpose, our mission statement, but you truly don't get to understand that until you're in position yourself. So it's a great way for you to really get to see that firsthand. And also during the internship, going into senior year with a full-time job coming out of your graduation. And lastly, we give back. So Trav really was mentioning on like how much volunteer work we do here at Kohl's. So you can see we have a few different partners. Those are just very few of the many we are currently working with, but we really do give back. I know even when I was still in the stores during COVID, we did like virtual events to help support veterans, and we decorated cards for people that were maybe in the children's hospital. We also made cards for veterans. So if there's a will, we find a way. So whether we are actually out in our communities or just supporting them virtually or via cards, we definitely do give back to our communities. And so one of the big areas where we focus, a lot of our resources is where we got our start. So in the Wisconsin area, we have quite a different few resources where we really lean into volunteering and different organizations there that we truly support, since that is where our hometown is. Perfect. All right, plenty of time for questions. But here on your screen is just the QR code to submit interest in all of our positions. So feel free to scan it, but we are happy to answer any questions you guys may have. Yeah.
Hi, so we got a question from like the chat window on Zoom. We had a student interested in your opportunities, Hong New Wen, who had already applied for your internship opportunity and wanted to know, at this stage in the application process, what could they do to help keep their application active? How can they ensure that they're being visible to recruiters?
Yeah, good question. Reach out to us. Don't ever hesitate to make that first connection. So if you just email at the bottom of your application, there should be an email of like early talent or early talent at Kohl's. Email us and be like, hey, what is the status on my resume or application? And that kind of goes for any company. Anytime you guys submit interest somewhere and you're really interested in there, reach out to whoever the recruiter is or whoever's in charge of hiring to like give yourself a 1-up. So wanted to share that.
It says an error has occurred.
Oh.
It says an error has occurred when I put the QR code.
Sounds good. Let me edit that for you guys. Patrick, if I want to quickly make that public, can I just unplug this?
Yes, that's fine.
Does anybody have any questions? I'm gonna bring the microphone up to you and you just speak into it.
Actually, I already got an interview from Kohl and I got rejected like last week. And I just wondering why I'm still so excited about the position for internship. So is it possible for me to reapply to get another interview, like, of the stuff of this summer internship?
Sorry. Okay, link should be good. Yes, go ahead and apply if you want to. Reach out to me too. We can kind of discuss next steps, things like that. But also like think about your open ability to other positions. If there was anything else that you were interested in, we could try also going that route as well. Thank you.
Can you like resume sharing your screen again?
Oh gosh.
Thank you.
I was just wondering because I'm a senior now and I don't really have a lot of time for internship because I'm graduating soon. So like at the end of this year, what do you think about the offer? Like because you said like about like 70% of internship got the full time. Yeah. So what do you think about people who don't have an internship?
Yeah, no, we, like Trav mentioned very early on, we directly hire straight from campus as well. Like we shared, it kind of just depends on when we're meeting the student, junior standing or those that can kind of partake in our internship. But if you are maybe a senior or a recent grad, that's why we have those full-time training programs. So there are a lot of opportunities there. I think 550 interns, 400 full-time positions that we're trying to fill as well. So we're just shy of 1,000 positions to offer to people. So they're definitely out there, but don't ever feel discouraged that you maybe didn't have an internship first. Just kind of depends on where we meet the person and kind of what stage of their career, I guess, school career they're in. But yeah, don't be discouraged at all that you're a senior only going into a training program without an internship.
And you talk a lot about a full-time training program, so maybe talk a little bit more. Is it for like graduate students? I just want to know more about
Yeah.
the program.
Yeah, good question. So it's really for anyone that is a senior or a recent graduate. So if they've just graduated within the last year, is anyone that can partake in our training programs and go through those hiring processes. For stores, that is where you really are starting to lean into that development and leadership within the stores and understanding what it takes to be a assistant store manager, because that is what the MIT program kind of leads that student to, is becoming an executive at Kohl. So yeah, the manager and training program, like the internship, it is a 12-week long program that takes place post-graduation, and you're working full-time, getting paid, and just learning how to really prepare yourself before you step into role as an assistant store manager. Yeah, but that's stores related. All the corporate ones are a little bit different.
I can answer that about corporate. So very similarly, you are offered a full-time opportunity, but what we do is we try to give you really robust training up front for several weeks prior to being formally placed into a role. So it's not necessarily about like you have to make it through in order to get your full-time job. You already have the job. We just want to give you a really robust training program to set yourself up for success. And so a lot of those direct full-time opportunities have a training program involved because maybe you didn't have an internship with us prior, and we give you that experience up front to get you prepared to now step into that role full time and be successful.
If everyone was good on this QR code, have a second one. So wanted to touch on our sophomore career expo is for anyone that is technically sophomore standing, they'd be graduating in 2024 and 2025. This is really catered towards getting you guys in the doors with Understanding Kohl's. It's a program that takes place this April, actually. So if you scan this, you can submit all of your information. And then we will send you an application for it and also kind of give you more of a brief overview of what that is. But wanted to provide that to you as well.
Hi, so you were suggesting earlier, options and ideas for ways to connect with recruiters via email. Would you be able to verify what exactly did you say it was early careers?
Yeah.
Do you have a
Yeah.
recommendation for a recruiter to email?
Yep, so it's earlytalent@kohls.com.
Thank you, early talent. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions? This is live stream, so that's why we're having you speak into the microphone.
Getting your steps in today, Lisa.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So like if you're a graduating senior, you should apply for the training program instead of the internship instead, right?
That first link I shared takes you to submitting interest, so I would select training program. But we, as recruiters on our end, when we view it, we always edit it based off of your resume and what your grad date is. So doesn't quite matter, but yes. Yes, and
And what I would say too, if you were to look at that and you didn't see any opportunities that maybe fit what you're looking for, you can always go on our website, kohlscareers.com, and you can always see what we have available out there as well that maybe isn't part of one of our training programs, but we are always hiring entry-level employees into different roles across our organization as well. So that's another option above and beyond this.
Any other questions? This is your opportunity.
So how many weeks is the internship period? How many months or how many weeks is that?
yeah, so it takes place this summer. So the store side ones is 8 weeks, and then our corporate ones are going to be 10 weeks. So
Okay.
they start early June and they run until the stores runs until the end of July,
Okay.
and then the corporate ones run second week into August.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I'm just wondering for the internship, like one-time program and the internship program, is it different when you get that, when you have to learn or like kind of the same thing, you know?
Was that more so in like in terms of what you're doing during the internship versus the training program?
Yeah.
The internship, since it is 8 weeks long in the summer, it is kind of more of an entry level. And then when you do the manager in training program, since it is 12 weeks long, you're given some extra time to really start leading into leading people, leading processes, and really being super hands-on. Both of them, though, are very well oiled machines, truly, because they've been around since like I think early 2000. Because each week you kind of have a checklist of things to be focusing on. You have learnings to do on the computer. You have hands-on experiences and maybe different ways to engage with customers in your teams during those weeks. So you've got a really well laid out, I guess, kind of planner of things to be doing in each of those weeks. But they are mostly the exact same. The manager in training might need just a little bit more elevated to really prepare you for that full-time role you're about to step into.
My question is, we have like master's students who are interested in the opportunities as well. Should they be referred to that first link? Do you have other resources that you recommend for them?
Yeah, so just kind of depends on like graduation date, like we said. Sometimes it just depends on when they're going to finish up on school. since the internship takes place this summer going into their last year. So then by the time they finish school, they can join the training program. But obviously kind of is situational based on someone's experience as well and the position they're kind of looking for. So yeah, Trev can also add on to that.
And I would say a lot of our internships are geared more towards undergraduates. However, we do have several internship opportunities that are geared towards those that are going for their master's degree. It just depends. So, and it's not to say we would shy away from anybody with a master's into any of our programs at all. But we do have a couple geared towards them, and they're more so around like data science and analytics that we would be looking for more of those master's students. But then also if they are looking for a full-time role, coming into Kohl's, they can always explore the Kohl's careers website. There's tons of opportunities on there that we would consider masters for that are sort of aligned with what their interests are. And then to Kimmy's point, depending on any prior experience before their masters, because we know some people have work experience before going for the masters. So it all is going to be dependent upon that work experience and then what your focus is within that master's program.
So to be clear, that you would refer them to the overall Kohl's careers page for checking out on what opportunities are available for master students?
Yes, unless they're looking for an internship, then we have two available, which is around data science and analytics. And so if they're looking for an internship, I would have them look on this QR code that she showed earlier, that one, and they can express interest in those opportunities from an internship perspective. But if they're looking for full-time, I would definitely encourage them to go to Kohl's Careers.
Thank you.
I know you mentioned the offices for corporate for Kohl's. It was in Oakland, right? So if you were looking to get a job for a corporate, you have to commute all the way to Oakland for the training program.
So it's a really good question. And it's really going to be dependent on the role. So what I would say is that the Oakland office is really geared towards IT. So if you're looking for something in product management, product design, software engineering, that is going to be the opportunities that exist there. And you wouldn't be required to go into that office every day. You could be pretty much fully remote or go in a few days a week. If you're looking at the training programs that we've been talking about, the stores training program is across the US, just dependent on the store. And then our other training program is based at the corporate office, and that is all around merchandising. And so that one you would have to be in person for a portion of that as well. But if you wanted to be in the Oakland office, Austin, or Atlanta, those are all geared towards IT. And then if you were interested in merchandising or anything on like the product development side, you could be in New York. And then all of our other opportunities, finance, HR, marketing, merchandising, and even IT can all be in Milwaukee at our corporate office.
Any other questions?
There's not any more questions. I mean, I'm a recruiter. If you've got any questions about just preparedness, where you guys currently are at, happy to answer any of those. But yeah, no, appreciate you guys all joining us today. Surprised we made it this far. But we do have some goodies up here for you guys as well. If there's anything you wanted to grab, there's definitely enough for everyone here in the room. Virtual friends, I'm very sorry.